Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to Today in Bitcoin. Today is May 29th, 2017. This is home of long-term crypto thinking. Golden hold, be in motion. Clear your throat before you go on the air, not during. Hey, I am proud to have the best guest in this space on my show. As you all know, you've seen them here before. Simon Dixon will be on the show Tuesday. That's 4 p.m. in Singapore on Tuesday and in Hong Kong, 11 a.m. in Tel Aviv and here in Paphos, Cyprus, 10 a.m. in Johannesburg, 9 a.m. in London, 4 a.m. in New York City, 1 a.m. in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. And it will still be 10 p.m. Monday night for all the brothers in Honolulu. So tomorrow, Tuesday, Simon Dixon, 9 a.m. London time. Hey, I have been so busy with clients and stuff. I got clients every day. It's awesome. If you want to work with me, adam@tresorhelp.com. Email me. We might be having an event. I don't want to spoil anything or jinx anything, but whatever. No such things as jinxes. I might be in Detroit soon enough. Maybe there'll be a Detroit event. If you're interested in that type of thing, email me at adam@tresorhelp.com. I am available for in-person consultations too. Yes, flying into your city and meeting you. And that is going to happen when I'm in Hong Kong. I've already arranged an in-person meeting with someone. So you can reserve me for a day. We can have a mini conference, just me talking to a room full of people. I'm doing all this stuff all over the world. If you want me to come anywhere in the United States, fly me out there, put me up. We'll work it out, pay me. It's great. It's worth the time. Everyone's giving me great reviews. The people keep on coming back. I love to share this energy and enthusiasm in a positive way of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Let's change this world. Anyway, link to below is the Simon Dixon video when Simon was on This Week in Bitcoin. We're going to, of course, have This Week in Bitcoin coming up this Friday. We have some very special guests. I won't get into that now. Always go to check out my archives and always check out the link section below because they explain, the links add to what I talk to in these videos. And remember, people, we were talking about the situation with the BIP148 user activated soft fork, and just more has come up. I just wanted people not to worry, and also to remind people I am holding through all of this. Again, if you're not familiar with the channel, I just believe in buy and hold. I have never sold my Bitcoin ever. And I tell people just at least get into the hold mentality to the halving of 2020. Don't be scared off by FUD and by people talking about things you don't fully understand and by the latest altcoin scam or whatever. I could actually write something down there. And so again, don't worry yet. We're going to talk about this though. So if by chance for some reason because we want to avoid ending up with 2 Bitcoins here. But what I'm going to share with you later in this video is that a lot of people are saying, even with user activated soft fork, we're going to end up with 2 Bitcoin. Now, if that were to happen, the way the market, and we're talking about August 1st. So the market right now is so irrationally exuberant that you need to pound that like button to make it rational again. But it is so irrationally exuberant right now that probably at first, if Bitcoin were to split into 2, that the lesser of the 2 Bitcoins, the one that's going to lose and become China coin or whatever coin, it would probably go up an incredible amount in value too. So the only thing you really that I would have to consider personally at that point would be like, is this this second Bitcoin, China coin, let's call it, that is going to be illegitimate, but it's still going to hurt the Bitcoin brand because we can't end up with 2 Bitcoin here. Is this its high point now during all this insane ICO altcoin? And should I sell my worthless, soon to be worthless or close to being worthless, or will it be worthless, secondary Bitcoin China coin thing now, or wait, or do it in stages? But my point in sharing all of that is that don't panic right before August the 1st and decide, oh, I'm going to sell everything now before they're 2. or then they don't even end up being two of them, and you sold your Bitcoin for some reason, and then it goes up and SegWit is suddenly approved, and Bitcoin is $4,000, and you just sold it for $1,700 because it dropped from 2,500 to 1,700. Remember that. I will remind everyone of that on July 29th, 30th, and 31st. But also, it's funny though, the market, the insane market, thanks to all of these, Ripple fans and everything, and ICO fans, it's going to help as a buffer in the case of a worst case scenario though, because there's going to be all these young 19-year-olds again saying two Bitcoin, yes, I'm buying both, blah, 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 that'll make that secondary one, China Coin, keep it pumped up. But again, there's a lot of scenarios. I just want everybody to get their mega strong hands ready and think about the scenarios. But we're going to talk about this all in the rest of this video too. Also, I just want to remind everyone that I am not a technical expert here. So if you hear me saying technical things about the soft fork or interpret what I'm saying as technical stuff, don't ask me technical questions about the soft fork. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy. I'm a money guy. And I forgot to say hello to some of the people that were in the chat before. There was a dude from the Silicon Valley. What's up, Silicon Valley? What's up, Venshin MGTOW up in the Northwest also. I can't see the chat right now. I hope no one is asking me questions there because I always say I can't answer your questions. We will have an Ask Me Anything on June the 1st. We'll get into that a little later. So someone sent me this. Notice Coinbase, it is now 9 days for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin delivery. It used to be 3 days, 3 months ago. All right. So delivery of your coins on Coinbase has slowed down apparently. You know what? I never even noticed how fast they delivered Bitcoin to me before. Because why do you need it now anyway? Why do you need it now? Are you about to trade it? Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to flip it? I mean, I'm just a holder. So if it takes 3 days or 9 days, as long as I pay my money, they get the Bitcoin to me, I'm pretty happy. So, I mean, if you're just buying it to sell it immediately, then, oh, well, so it's taken 9 days now. But otherwise, I mean, this is just another reason why you want to be a buy and holder. If you're depending on buying Bitcoin from Coinbase to flip it a day later and then it's not coming, well, then your whole plan is totally messed up and your whole strategy is foolish and silly and impulsive. So again, buy and hold. Vinny Lingham has a tweet out. Activating BIP 148 user-activated soft fork will create 2 Bitcoins. Make no mistake, whether we want it or not. There are no easy options here. Okay, so that doesn't sound very good. That's Vinny's opinion. A lot of people respect Vinny's opinion. He's not always right. And again, I want to avoid 2 Bitcoin as much as the next guy. But let's see what other people say later on in this video. Remember, Bitcoin, generational wealth. Ow. Pound that like button. Yeah. All right, so also use fiat to pay for stuff at cryptohwwallet.com. You can buy your Trezor, your Nano, your T-shirts. You can't buy this T-shirt because I won this shirt at the track. Hi-ho, Pimlico. If you're from Baltimore, you know what that is. Or if you know horse racing, but who knows horse racing now in the modern world? It's a tradition of the past, I guess. Probably looked down upon. It was once glorious. All right, so there is a blog that is out, a review of the Token Summit in New York. Here's a quote, worrying signs, and I link to it below. If there was consensus on one thing, it is that Ethereum is great. A number of people use the following logic. It has most of the new token sales. So there is a huge value in that. It is worth considering if the opposite is true, that this dependency creates a more fragile scenario for tokens. Interestingly, Civic was the only company that discussed issuing their token on RSK. So look at that. Vinny Lingham going against the grain with his Civic there. Okay, there were very few dissenting voices on the viability of the token sale model. I would like to have seen more of a heated debate around the potential dangers inherent in this structure. Tone Vays, who was in attendance, would have been useful on that panel, on a panel. Very good points there. You need two different voices. So some people are in love with Ethereum. Some people are blindly in love with it. This guy's trying to say. All right, so you can read the article yourself. Jimmy Song has a article that explains what an ICO is. And a lot of people are wondering what an initial coin offering is. And he does a very good job of explaining it in a link below. Again, tomorrow's guest on the show, tomorrow morning's guest, Simon Dixon, will give his opinion on ICOs. He already gave it on This Week in Bitcoin, but he's going to explain it even more. And Simon is a great guest. Jimmy Song is a great writer, and he'd also make a great guest on the show. Got to work on that. Got a lot on my plate here, people. Got clients to do. Got to go, run to the beach, run my 20 miles a week. Yeah, I live like right on the beach here in Paphos. It's pretty cool, man. This is Bitcoin. What can I say? So here's a pro token article. Token. He's such a token, man. I don't like that word. Pound that like button. 111 live viewers. But yeah, it's a pro. I don't know who this guy is. He wrote an article about tokens. But whatever. Read the article. Give it a different opinion. It gives a different opinion than what Simon will give. So read it. It's linked to below. Jimmy Song has another great. I had to give Jimmy Song 2 links below. A great article about BIP 148. User-activated soft fork. He explains a lot of aspects of it, some of it technical. So I'm going to quote here. If you're a user on the network, that means that transactions will be slower for 2 weeks at a minimum, longer if the hashing power is lower. And more likely, there will be some serious disruptions as merchants and exchanges will likely suspend any Bitcoin transactions until there's some clarity on the forking situation. Further, even after the forking situation is resolved, there's a high likelihood of there being 2 Bitcoins and a very messy divorce. All right, so that brings up some negatives there. During that period of disruption, and that's not the good disruptmeister kind of disruption either, okay? That's going to be bad if that happens. All right, if everything slows down, you can't do business anymore. The mainstream media will have a field day. The price will drop 500 points at least. I mean, people with weekends, you're going to be weeded out like anything. And I'm not saying this is even going to happen, and again, I keep going back to the point that we promote user-activated soft fork as a way of having leverage over these miners to force them to do the right thing, to do segregated witness without this user-activated soft fork. But again, the exchanges will likely suspend any Bitcoin transaction until there's some clarity on the forking situation. I mean, that's it doesn't sound very positive to me. And again, these are all things we have to consider. I wouldn't get too worried yet. Everyone knows that it's out. We're just bringing it all out into the open, so the miners understand, so the users understand. What could happen, what to prepare. The better prepared we are, the better the outcome will be. And at the same time, if we know all the potential outcomes, maybe everyone will come together 100% behind the segregated witness solution. So I want segregated witness. I want 1 Bitcoin. That is Adam's bottom line. He wants 1 Bitcoin. So people out there are saying, "Well, Adam, you're doing what the China coin wants you to do," or this is falling into their trap. No, I want 1 Bitcoin because if you have 2 Bitcoin, it's messy. It's going to be messy, and we've gone over all the crazy things that can happen. Do you want Bitcoin to drop 600 points in one day? And to watch CNBC and everybody's laughing, and then it drops another 400 the next day. I mean, how strong will your hand be at that point? So these aren't fun things to talk about, and but we do have to bring them up now so that we can avoid them. And again, hopefully, this user-activated soft fork it obviously is a serious option for August the 1st. And the miners will consider it a serious option, and they will read Jimmy Song's great article and learn about what can happen. So with all that being said, Eric Lombroso has an article that's called Why I Support Bit 148. You can read it yourself. It's linked to below. Whale Panda. I'm sure you guys have heard of Whale Panda before. He's big on Twitter. I linked to his Medium post before. It is a recap of the Consensus 2017 conference that was held last week in New York City. And it's really funny. He says it was too expensive. But here's a quote. First, about ICOs. The insanity around ICOs was the hot topic at Consensus. What I learned from the regulatory panel is that ICOs, which don't have a working product on launch, are basically scams, and they will probably get in a lot of trouble at a later point. I'm not saying that ICOs with a working product on launch aren't scams, but at least they put some more effort in than just writing a white paper. And then he brings up Golem specifically. All right. Then he talks about Ethereum. Everyone's going to love this, right? Ethereum came up quite a few times during Consensus, and never in a positive way. Basically, everyone I talked with agrees that Ethereum will split again into multiple chains with the proof of stake switch. Besides the fact that there can potentially be huge issues / bugs with proof of stake, it's just way too profitable for the miners at this point to give up on it. See image. Okay. So you'll have the obvious proof of work, proof of stake split at that point. I guess he meant to say it's too profitable for the miners to give up on proof of work, maybe. Anyway, proof of work stake split at that point. The fact that the DAO fork already happened makes it very likely that there will be more similar bailout forks to when certain people mess up. Forks to when certain people mess up. All right. So I just want to elaborate on all of that. For a while now, probably since that fork last summer, there have been a few of us, Tone Vays, Adam Meister, who have said that when we get to this fork in the road, when Ethereum supposedly is going to go proof of stake, that there's going to be a third Ethereum. I hope I've been saying Ethereum. That Ethereum will split again. First of all, and that a bailout forks could happen again also, because they've already set the precedent. They already said that they can be centrally controlled at one point by a great leader. And so be prepared. I mean, now we're not the only ones saying it anymore. This dude, Whale Panda, is saying that there's a possibility of a third Ethereum along the way. And he talked to other people who were talking about it being a third Ethereum. So you might not like it. You might have thought, oh, it's just Adam and Tone being ignorant or something. But now there are other people talking about it. This is a real possibility. And again, it goes back to my point of why Bitcoin should never split into two. Because once it splits into two, it can split into three, it can split into four. Nobody knows what's next. And there's an uncertainty there. And then it will never live up to its full potential. And everyone's going to say, well, Ethereum is worth so much now, Adam. Well, how much would it be worth if there wasn't an Ethereum Classic out there and there wasn't a threat of an Ethereum number 3 out there always lurking, and that there was not always a threat of a bailout out there always lurking? How much would it be worth? A lot more, probably. You don't know. You just don't know. So when a coin forks, there's all sorts of cost you can never figure out, and you just don't want to go down that road. And one of them is Ethereum number 3. So because if we end up with 2 Bitcoin, we'll probably end up with 3 Bitcoin for some weird reason one day too that I can't even think of. It just sets a really bad precedent. Keep that in mind, people. Pound that like button. Serious talk here. Serious talk. But I'm not impulsive. Remember, long-term 2020. All right, finally, there's a tweet. There is a tweet out there by Alistair Milne, and I'm trying to get Alistair on the show. It's really hard. He can only do very early in the morning shows, which is bad for the people in the United States, obviously. So he says, prediction, miners will activate SegWit to protect Bitcoin from user-activated soft fork. And again, I think he's sort of joking on this there, But forcing the miners into this excuse would be the best outcome. It really would be the best outcome, where the miners can walk away with honor and say, we were forced to do SegWit because the users were threatening us with this user-activated soft fork. That would be great. They would have their honor, they would have their money, the price would go up, everyone would be happy, there would be SegWit. So let's hope that is the outcome there. I guess you can see Alistair's tweet below that I just read. See if you think it was a joke or if you're serious or whatever. Anyway, Ask Me Anything is coming up June the 1st. You can reserve your questions in advance by sending me a tip at adam@tresorhelp.com. If you don't do that, then you can show up and try to ask me a question. Hopefully there'll be time to ask a question. I'm not going to be sitting there for 2.5 hours this time answering all sorts of nonsense questions, though. We're cutting it short, and you know what a nonsense question is. If you don't, then don't show up. Pound that like button, people. Pound that like button. Remember to check the archives. Bitcoin is the world reserve cryptocurrency. Tomorrow, Simon Dixon, 9 a.m. London time. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the notes section below. I post a new video here every day. I'll say hi to you in the chat. 170 live viewers. Bye.